The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks for kicking off your trading day right here with me in the Morning Market Kickoff. We got markets. Quite the day yesterday. Volatility on Fed Day. Today, we come into a possible trade deal with the UK. President Trump making an announcement in less than 1 hour, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Market accelerating on the promise of that news coming right after the opening bell. You have the S&Ps giving back some of those gains. We've given up almost 30 points from the highs right now, but nonetheless, you're still positive by 38 points or 0.7% in the S&Ps. NASDAQ 100, we're up by 207 or 1% right now at 20,168. You have the Dow right now up 193 points or 0.5%. You see the Dow giving up 200 points from that high. The Russell right now up by 1.2%. 2018. The other thing you have out there, chip curbs. Yeah, how about that? Chip curbs. They're going to be taken away. And they're going to be replaced, and I'm sure they will be replaced. I'm not sure of anything, actually, but hopefully they will. But nonetheless, yeah, NVIDIA catching a bid yesterday on that news, and it accelerates to 120 or 118.57 right now, with the S&Ps up by about 39 points. You go back to some of the volatility of Fed Day. When you talk about yields, no huge reaction, right? You get 4 or 5 points up. Ticks up, I should say. We're right back to where we were middle of the day yesterday. You have yields at about 4.3%. Now, how about the dollar? Important critical area of the dollar. We break above 100 overnight. Look at that strength, right? We're back right to that 100 area. You put this on a daily. Critical area, 99.93 on the dollar. Gold, as we get a little bit of dollar strength up to 100. Gold backing off from those highs a bit at $33.64. Gold's down $26. $33.65 make it. Jump over to silver. Off about 11 pennies at $32.60. Yeah. Copper's got a ceiling at around 5 to 520. We're backing off. Yesterday you traded lower. Check out copper, man. Look at that trade lower on copper yesterday from about 470 to almost 454. Some of those copper stocks, Southern Copper. Check out these copper stocks, folks. That's a tough one, right? Southern Copper, look at that downtrend channel. You've been in it for a year, since May of last year. 87.46 for Southern Copper. Freeport McMoran, tough one as well. You got to back it up a little bit further. Highs of $55 out there. We're sitting at 37. But Freeport, a little bit of a bid there on some strength on the bottom. And there's the headline. Futures gain on UK trade deal and chip rule change. We covered them both, and that's the deal, right? Yeah, we jump over to some of the other chip stocks in terms of the pre-market action, and there's your acceleration, right? Intel shares, you're going to be up by almost, 4%? You're trading up 70 pennies, 3.5% to the upside at $21 from $20.33. AMD shares up to about 101 from 136. And how about the news yesterday on Google? So the news yesterday on Google from 166 down to 150. The news out there that you have Apple testifying, basically saying that for the first time they saw Google impressions go down. Google searches, I should say, on Apple go down in April for the first time ever. First time ever goes down. Boy, if that's a peak in Google search, and it would make sense at some degree. Boy, they have a monopoly. And, the remarkable thing is they have YouTube. Okay, plenty of people are still going to use Google. And Apple talked about how they can potentially incorporate other, search functions, other AI functions, whether it's Perplexity, whether it's ChatGPT, etc., but that they might not be the standard default. What's the standard default? Well, the whole thing is about Google paying to be the standard default on Apple, and therefore, eliminating competition. And Apple saying, hey, you know what? They're not going to be the only game in town for much longer. We've actually seen their searches go down. Now, this is a weekly chart. We have 2 full trading days left, and we've already done as much volume as we did in each of the last 2 weeks. And there is a very real chance, depending on how today goes. Now, Google's up $4 in the pre-market, okay? You're catching a bid. But, boy, that's quite a bar, and you're going to do some volume right now, man. Okay, you got 2 full days left. Look at that volume we did yesterday. So this week's volume on Google going to be very important. And, boy, you could almost get a bearish engulfing. If this thing trades lower, watch out on Google, man. It would be remarkable when you think about watching a monopoly unwind. And it's that remarkable. And the article I was reading about this morning talked about Kodak in that degree, to the same degree. And it is remarkable. Let's put it that way, right? On a fundamental basis, but on a technical basis, I mean, look at this. We're back to where we were in 2021. We've wiped out almost 4 years of gains. We have a huge weekly bar that's gearing up. We did 75 million shares yesterday. Okay, we only got to do 87 million shares over the next 2 days to equal what you did on the bottom. I don't know if we'll get that, depending on how today goes, because you see the days we've gotten, right? 15 and 10 and 16. Even on the bigger days, you're talking about 35. Okay, that was quite a week when we were doing, what week is it? Yeah, the week of April 7th. Yeah, when you were doing all this volume down here on consecutive 5 days. But nonetheless, Google's got a problem, man. And if Apple's seeing it and imagine, we're at the first critical point. That's it. They're the default search function on Apple. And last month, for the first time ever, Google searches actually went down. Why? Because everybody's using other items. And there's going to be plenty of them. I do it myself all the time. Why use Google when you can just talk to ChatGPT and it solves it for you in plain English? They got a problem, man. You jump over to Apple shares, you're going to be higher by about $1, back to a daily. You trade lower yesterday, we're going to be up by about $1 to 197 in the pre-market. We jump around to some of the other Magnificent Seven. Microsoft shares catching a bid, up by about $3 right now. You jump over to Amazon, up about $3 to 191 as well. Disney shares accelerating higher yesterday, going to be up by about another $1 to 102.99 so far. Let's check in on some of the other equities. Palantir. Yeah, trades low on Monday. We're going to be up by about a couple bucks. Salesforce right now, higher by $3. We jump over to Oracle. Yeah, up by about $1. Take a look at the volume of the indices, okay? Now, today's going to be an important day for some follow-through, because what's happened here is we've had a series of escalations, right? And what you're seeing here is that as this keeps going, even the volume spikes are less than the previous volume spikes, right? So we're at this critical area. We've been talking about the volume area you have where this market traded from about 21,000, give or take, in the NASDAQ 100, and that correlates in the same deal to about 6,000, okay, in the S&Ps. When you really started getting volume, about February 27th on your first trade lower, February 27th. And look at the volume. Same exact deal. Even the spikes are lower. We need some conviction to the upside right now, okay? Because everything since the 90-day pause, okay, as we've seen, it's happening. But boy, when you talk about conviction, you talk about a sustained market momentum, this market needs a little volume. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back. 3 minutes. Don't go away. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger Zen, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. S&Ps right now, you're up by 38 points. NASDAQ 100, you're up by 209. Markets in positive territory. We jump over to the yields right now in focus with Fed Day yesterday. And yeah, Chairman Powell, he seemed content to let things play out for a bit, to say things the least. Down by 5 ticks right now, but right where we were middle of the day yesterday. You got quite a market reaction, but on the yield front, no huge reaction on the yields. What you did get is dollar strength. And what would dollar strength come with? Dollar strength will usually come with higher yield, right? You get some higher yield, you get some dollar strength to go with it. Nonetheless, we're at about 100 right now on that dollar. All right, Restaurants International. Burger King. Out with their numbers, pretty muted reaction. You're trading at 68.25 right now. And you jump over, the headline is earnings miss. Burger King, Popeyes, Tim Hortons, all same-store sales declines. What's going on over there, right? Earnings miss, revenue misses. Surprised that equity's not down a little bit more. There's your spike on the initial number. You dig into it, I guess it's not as bad as that top line number. Excuse me, bottom line, missing on earnings. But they're missing on everything. Net sales climbing 21%. Higher revenue from Popeyes and Firehouse Subs. Well, there you go. Firehouse Subs. So Popeyes posts same-store sales decline. Yet they have higher revenue. Overall same-store sales growth, 0.1%. That's a tough one, man. Burger King, shrinking 1.3%. Market was thinking they were looking for a 0.9% decline. Popeyes, 0.4%, 4%. Biggest drop of the quarter. Look at that. So last year, Popeyes runs a Super Bowl commercial. Look at that. Talk about return on your investment, right? Quarterly same-store sales grew almost 6% last year after a Super Bowl commercial, and they didn't do it this year. That seems like a pretty good return if you have same-store sales growing 6%. I know a Super Bowl ad's like $8 million now, but nonetheless, they reiterate their forecast. And so that's probably why you get saved, right? They reiterate their forecast when many are pulling their forecasts. All right. And talking about that Apple article, I did pull it up in terms of the article, the exact quotes to get in there on Apple and on Google. And you got to take the context of what's happening here, right? Apple wants to downplay the significance of Google. They want to say, hey, Google's not that important. Okay, they're trying to save the deal. They have a deal with Google. Google has a deal with Apple. They're trying to save that deal. But the numbers don't lie. Okay, Apple receives $20 billion a year from the company, so of course they're incentivized. Okay, as in the messenger here is incentivized to downplay and give you the bearish scenario because they want the court to say, well, you're right. I guess this isn't monopolistic, etc. Okay, Apple plans to reshape its Safari web browser around AI services such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, Perplexity, Anthropic. Customers are ditching the old way, and then here's the part. The number of Google search queries on Apple devices declined for the first time in April, the result of users switching to AI. Technology shifts create these opportunities, okay? And adding, he believes AI providers will ultimately become options in Safari as search engine alternatives. How is that going to get interfaced into there? Because ChatGPT has their own app. You're going to be able to pull it up instantly, etc. They're all going to have their own app if they don't already do. But Apple doesn't want to lose it. And yeah, it's under threat. And investors see that possibility. But guess what, man? Now, how do you throttle the data to get that one? Right? The first month ever that search queries went down. Now, you can throttle data, okay? And they knew this case was coming. But yeah, that's a big problem. And it's a big problem because if you do any searching yourself, folks, it makes sense. It does. That's just how things are playing out right now in terms of there's no way you need to be using Google like you used to with the type of search functions out there. I'll tell you a quick story of how this relates, right? So we're building a house in St. Pete. We'll jump to real estate for a moment. This is a good one. Almost complete. We're looking at a water bill spikes. Okay, and what happens sometimes on these sites is even though they have a fence, the fence comes down at the very end. We're finishing the final touches. The house is exposed. It's still a construction site. No one's there. Somebody's probably stealing the water. That's what people do. They steal the water, right? So someone's probably stealing the water. So I'm looking up because it's hundreds of gallons. And I'm saying, all right, how long does it take to steal 100 gallons of water? Maybe somebody's got a water tank, right? Whether you're dealing with fertilizer, whatever you're dealing with, etc. I'm saying, how long does it take for somebody, let's say they want to fill a 100-gallon tank or something in their house, right? How long does it take? How much gallons come out of a spigot instantly, and it told me basically that you can fill up 100 to 150 gallons in probably 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on where you are. I just asked ChatGPT instantly. That probably would have taken me multiple Google searches to get done. That happens constantly on a daily basis. It's an interesting story on top of it, right? Nonetheless, yeah, isn't that remarkable? It's everybody's the search has changed. And unfortunately, Google is the only one in town, and they are no longer the only one in town. Now, here's the kicker on this, though. They own YouTube, folks. YouTube has taken over the world. That's the other side of it. It is remarkable when you see, I have Tommy who's 4 years old, right? He loves YouTube. His brother Landon, 8 years old, loves YouTube, okay? You go up and down the line of kids. You go up and down. We stream TFNN, everything we do. We stream TFNN right on YouTube, okay? It's generational, and it's kind of taken the way of now that is the new way to deliver content, and that's never going away, never. And yeah, so Google will be okay, but boy, you're at a critical area, and like we talked about, volume in a big way. We got 2 full days of trading left, and we've already done 105 million shares, and you've traded from 167 down to 156 for catch the pop. But boy, let's see if we hold, right? Today's going to be an important day following up the Fed. And you're going to have a press conference at 10 o'clock with the UK deal. And that's going to get talked up market. going to be interesting to see if this is a situation of buying the rumor, selling the news. A lot of optimism into this. But as somebody pointed out in the den, a trade, the UK is not really a problem when it comes to a trade deficit, right? What is the big trade deal? And President saying it's comprehensive, and I'm sure it is. Well, I'm not sure, but let's find out, right? But even if it is, we got a lot of optimism. We're at 5,700 in the S&Ps right now, folks. 5,700. We're right back to where we were trading at basically on election day. With the uncertainty out there, a lot of optimism priced in right now over the volatility that we've seen recently. All right, folks, stay tuned. We're coming back. We'll talk jobless claims as well. We got a lot to go over still. S&P's up by 38, NASDAQ up by 203. Coming back, folks. Stay tuned.
This year has already been a wild ride for the market. We started off heavily in the red, traversed back to all-time highs, and we now have a trade war looming. Trying to play this chop as an individual trader leads to death by 1,000 cuts. Where does this market go next? Should I add to this position or cut my losses? Where is the next opportunity? Tariffs? Trade wars? Analysis paralysis. Don't become a victim of this intense market. Instead, join Larry Pesavento for the second and fourth Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading. Larry has been through many markets just like this one, and the insight he provides is invaluable. The dates for this month are April 11th and 25th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Get in here and let's start trading. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open. You got an S&P right now up by 35 points. And yes, sorry, jumping around to a couple stories out here. And what is interesting, okay, you look at the tariffs, you look at certain areas. So this story out there from the Journal late last night. I was reading it this morning. 6,000 inflatable snowmen and holiday figurines sitting in a factory in Yangdong. How do you pronounce that one? With nowhere to go. Okay. His customer, an American toy maker, planned to sell the holiday-themed products to QVC. 6,000 inflatable snowmen and holiday figurines. I mean, I'm not allowed, anybody could be in this situation, folks. Okay. But that's not happening with 145% tariff. And, you talk about bubble makers like this. You talk about cheap toys. It reminded me of this article, which I had just read. Yeah. So check this one out, right? This one is from December of last year. I remember reading this, okay? And you got these two brothers, dropped out of college, moved to China with a $12,000 loan. And now this is like 20 years ago they did this, okay? And there's one of the brothers. And they start a toy business, and they now supply Walmart, etc., with, what year is it they moved there? With all these cheap toys you see, right? They compete with Nerf, etc. Water balloons, blasters, billionaires, and they're not even public yet. This is the first area that you're going to see a massive hit. Cheap knockoff toys, right? Cheap knockoff, etc. And how does a company like Walmart, for instance, and you see the pressure, okay? But I think, let's see if I even just find, where is Walmart? There you go. More than 2 decades and several factories later, off-price toy heavyweight, blasters. Okay, they compete with Hasbro's Nerf on the shelves of Walmart and Target. A range of blind box collectibles, small dollar toys with unknown prizes inside. I mean, these things, right? Water balloon kits. Their revenue, almost $2 billion in 2024. Now, that's nothing compared to Walmart, okay, but you're going to see it trickle down, man. And that's what's remarkable. And I look at the article from the Journal today, that's what it's talking about, these exact types of toys that are going to be everywhere, and that is going to shift as we come into holiday season. Now, we'll see if something gets caused, as in if there's any remedies ahead of time. But yeah, Americans imported $440 billion of goods from China last year. Now look at it, right? That company alone did $2 billion. They're shipping it elsewhere, of course, okay? But yeah, 74% of toys and games, right? China is the source of 74% of the U.S.'s imported toys and games. 87% of Christmas decorations, excluding candles, electric lights, and natural Christmas trees. And if you're in the firework market, sorry, folks, China owns that market. 97% of its fireworks. Yeah. We'll see how that one plays out. We talk a little Nintendo. How about Nintendo? We got a Nintendo Switch 1 in the house. It's a great one. Nintendo 2 is coming out, $449.99. Improved features compared, it better for the price. It's a bigger one. And they're looking for 15 million units is what they're looking for in the fiscal year ending March of next year. And that goes on sale next month. Yeah, what's it? Let's see how they're doing. All right, down 2.67% Nintendo trading over in the Tokyo Stock Exchange. So yeah, keep your eye on that one. Tariffs going to be in focus, of course. Yeah, no matter what you're talking about right now. And check that out. All their forecasts are based on tariff rates effective April 10th, following a pause. They've delayed that because of the tariffs. That's what you see. Nintendo in April delayed pre-orders of the Switch 2 in the U.S. after the initial announcement of the sweeping tariffs, and they're manufactured in Vietnam. 46% once that lifts, which it lifts in 60 days, right? And it is so remarkable. We got games in the house, the Nintendo Switch, and some of these games are remarkable. They actually have the 3D versions, and they incorporate these 2D classics. I've told Tommy, I said, that's the classic. That's what Daddy had. That's all he had, Super Mario Brothers. 2D classic running around. Nonetheless, Switch coming down the line. All right. We jump back to markets. Now, I find myself watching yields and the dollar most importantly lately. We got the dollar at a critical level of 100. We have yields. Let's see where we are right now. We were at about 4.3%. And yeah, we're at 4.29. So 4.29. But boy, you take a look at yields, right? Even going back to a 5-year weekly, Folks, you're going back almost 3 full years that we've been in this trading range. The lower end, about 107. The upper range, maybe pushing 116, 115, 114. Okay. We're right in the middle of that range, which makes things so dicey, for lack of a better term, right? We're right in the middle of this range. The high end, 115 plus. The low end, approaching 107. And we're right in the middle. And the market's trying to figure out, is inflation coming? Is stagflation coming? Is the Fed going to cut? Chairman Powell, from his words, seemed like he was very patient and that they, in his own words, had no reason to rush. They're well positioned to handle anything that comes, and they're going to let things play out because and this is the first time I really heard, he said, it's going to matter, right? How harsh are the tariffs? Of course it's going to matter, right? Do they come off? Do they go back on? Is there another pause? I'm adding that. But there's a lot of uncertainty for him to act quickly. 1 cut, 2 cut, maybe. The market's priced in more than that right now, though. Let's see where we go. Amazon up 1.3% today. We check in. Microsoft up 1.5%. Look at Microsoft, man. So strong. Google shares up by 1.1% to 154 today. We check out the chip stocks. NVIDIA up by 0.8% right now. Intel shares, there you go, up by 2.75% right now. AMD. All right, this might be a breakout. Check this one out. Maybe you come back and get a little bit of a test, but that could be a breakout, man. That's a nice one. That's what you look for. Be nice to see the test, though. You could make the case. Was that the test? Maybe that was the test. But then you would have broken out to the upside, right? But AMD, nonetheless, breaking out of a downturn channel. We're up by 3.2% right now. We're at 103.64. And on a daily basis, boy, we had some big volume yesterday because that's where you got that announcement right at the end of the day, right? So you got some big volume coming in at the end of the day. On the chips, on a weekly basis, all right, you got a nice sign of volume on the bottom there, and you've gotten a bid. AMD, put it on your radar. There you go. Down from 170 to 103, but we may have a change of trend there. And look at that, right? A to B, C to D. Yeah, you exacerbate things to 227 briefly at the beginning of last year, and then boom, back to $80 before you know it. You talk about, who would have said at 227 that AMD would be back to $80 within practically 12 months? Okay, it reminds me of Meta shares down to $88 at one point. Volatility everywhere in this market. S&P's up by 29. We're coming back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps chopping around basically where we kick things off. You're up by 32 points. NASDAQ 100, we get back some of those gains. You're still up by 0.8% right now, up 171. Dow up 218 right now. The Russell up by 17. We jump around to some of the airlines. Dallas. Delta Airlines up 2.5% to 46.62 right now. You jump over to United, up by 1.6 right now. American Airlines catching a bit, up by 2%. JetBlue's always a laggard, man. Every time I go through them, right? JetBlue only up by 0.6%. You're up to $4.48. We have a high out here this week, Monday of $4.86. All right, Disney continuing the run, man. Up by 2.5%. They get the acceleration yesterday on their earnings beat. They got a new park. That'll be their 7th theme park opening. Yeah. And, yeah, you're catching quite a bit, up by 2.5%. We jump over to some of the other streamers. Paramount shares down by 0.6% right now. Warner Brothers Discovery, they're out with their numbers, down by 4.2% at $8.20. We jump over to the king, Netflix, basically flat, but how about that price point? Whew. Look at this thing. Pretty remarkable to think you break out of the channel line, right? You come back, you test it. You come back, you test it again, and kaboom, you trade from 8.31 last month to 11.57. Look at that run, man, on Netflix. And, yeah, you're breaking out of that channel. Whew. Disney beats on earnings. It's quite a chart on Disney as well. You know, we've done this before. You back it up more than that, right? Look at this chart. Let's cut off that one. And you can go back to basically, 3 full years of a consolidation between 80 and 120. And we're making a run to the upside yet again. And that's a strong bar. On a weekly basis, we got 2 more days to go, and we've already done 60 million shares. Who are they going to find next for Disney? That's the next one looming out there. They got a great slate of movies coming out over the next couple years, but they also have to replace their CEO. It seems like Iger's done what's necessary to turn this company around, at least in the short term, and that's a potential tough one hanging out there. Let's check out the banks. JP Morgan up by 1.5% right now. Bank of America up by 1.4%. Look at the run these banks have had, right? With the market, of course. Citi up by 1.7%. Wells Fargo right now up by 0.7%. All right, we have to jump over to the jobs number we got this morning. Jobless claims actually going down. So what do we got? We got jobless claims decreasing to 228,000 in the week ended May 3rd, basically in line with expectations. The kicker, though, continuing claims also fell. That's the one to watch if you're really watching the economy, folks. Doesn't matter if you lose your job, if you get another one in a month or two. That just means you're part of the healthy churn in the economy. If you're a continuing claim, that means you're out there, you're looking for a job, and you can't get one. That number went down. Now, that number is 1 week delayed versus the initial number. Okay, so this continuing claim number goes back to probably April 26th. Yeah. And that's interesting in light of, interesting can mean many things, right? But Trump making the case that we should cut. We got a strong jobs number on Friday. We got unemployment still under 4.2%. And you got continuing claims actually going down. Continuing claims actually going down. Dollar basically sitting right at 100. And we keep our eye yields at about 111.12 right now. And yeah, you talk about the Fed. Let's talk about the Fed. Why not? Nick Timmeroa. Saw him asking some questions yesterday, or a question at least, in the press conference with many others. And he just lays out the case. You're talking about higher risks of inflation and unemployment. Countries without tax hikes on imports are focused on the hit to growth. Okay? The cost of waiting to see further are fairly low. This is Chairman Powell. I remember this one, okay? He says, we think, so that's what we're doing, right? They're looking at a risk reward. He used the same word, wait, 22 times. The cost of waiting to see further are fairly low. They are well positioned to come in and cut if they need to, and there's too much risk with too much uncertainty out there to begin cutting right now. How do you cut ahead of the 90-day pause? Right? How do you cut around the 90-day pause? That's what they're dealing with. And they are correct that they have some ammunition to cut. They're at 4.25%. They can go all the way to 0 if they need to, right? So they have some room. But boy, he does not seem like he has to cut anytime soon right now. Check out some of the car companies. Ford up by 0.6%. Jump over to Tesla. There's a bid for you. How about it? Tesla up by 3.2%. They're getting some action. Get you a $4 pop to add to the higher prices. All right, and you're coming right back into the beginning of March area, which is basically Election Day. That's where that line is, folks, okay? Election Day jump from November 5th to November 6th, and that's where you're coming into right now. Yet again, you're at 284 for Tesla shares, up by 3%. GM shares up by 2.3% right now. So market giving it back just a bit. We had highs out there at about 7 a.m. this morning, almost 40, 45 points above where we're at. We're making session lows right now. And where are we coming into? Critical area. We're right into the spike of the Fed, and that's right where we were last night on the news of accelerating higher on the potential for the UK trade deal. Finally get it out. So, we've talked about it. We really haven't gotten a lot of conviction right now. We'll see if the volume comes in. We got, we're 19 minutes in the trading day. Well, look at that volume, man, right? We're sputtering out yet again, okay? On April 25th, we were as high as 55.62. Now, yes, we've gone 5.9. This is the 9th trading day, and we're 100 points higher. Well, folks, we know. We just lost 50 points almost in the last 2 hours, okay? We need more conviction to the upside, and it's difficult to get right now. But guess what? We're going to get an opportunity at 10 o'clock today. We'll get some volatility, I imagine, one way or the other. Rumor becomes reality. We get the first glimpse of a comprehensive trade deal, and we'll see if the market likes it or if it has the potential to underperform. But nonetheless, you get the S&Ps up by 21 right now. Yeah, you got a little bit of a give back in this market, folks. Look at this bars. We got volume coming in. Follow the volume. Follow the price and volume, folks. It's not always right. The market can always go further than you think, faster than you think. But boy, you ever get a rip lower today and we give up these gains, watch out in this market, folks. We'll jump over to the gold contract as we get the dollar pushing 100 right now. Gold back to about 33.70. We're trading at 33.67. And we get the 10-year at 4.3%. We jump over the VIX as we come into the last break. VIX, 22.33 overnight. Up a bit. We're at 23.13. One more segment, folks. Don't go away. Coming right back.
trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. Markets in positive territory, giving up some of the gains, though, right now. We're trading up by 22 points in the S&Ps. That's 0.4% in the green. NASDAQ 100 up by 0.6%. And, yeah, get ready for 10 a.m. We got our man Basil Chapman. He's coming up, folks. Now, he'll come up and we're going to get to see some volatility because guess what? Where's the reality going to lie? So we got a comprehensive deal, okay? But what's interesting here is as Britain, okay, expansive deals take years, obviously, particularly when they reach into politically sensitive areas. Oh, that's not the one I want to read. Forgive me. Here we go. Talks this time have been less expansive, with envoys on specific areas such as technology and AI. And the UK, yeah, so the White House holds a press conference at 10 a.m. UK Prime Minister going to speak a little bit later. And it's probably going to be a little focused. It's being billed as comprehensive, okay? But with this type of speed, we'll see what the reality comes to that deal. But markets, a little bit skittish coming into that 10 a.m. press conference as they gear up. Check back in at gold, trading at 33.64 right now. Check back in on silver. Silver actually positive, up by 3 pennies, 32.82. Amazon gives back the gains. Look at that. Let's check out NVIDIA. Whew. All right. Maybe the trading curbs, and we're leaving those trading curbs. Look at that give back, man. We still catch a pop from yesterday, but NVIDIA flat from yesterday's close after being all the way up to almost 121 right now. Microsoft, ever strong, up by 1.1%. All right, folks, thanks so much. Stay tuned. Basil Chapman, he's live. Get ready for the program, folks. Should be an interesting one as we get some market volatility. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Live programming coming up after Basil. Have a great Thursday, everybody. See you tomorrow morning.